the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's Postgame Show and the Final Word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's Postgame Show and the Final Word, live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at NebraskaAutoDetail.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and things are rocking in Louisville. We've got transport showing up every day with loads of new inventory, lots of new trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Our pre-owned inventory is also filling up fast. Our GMC Terrain inventory is really filling up fast, so we're putting special pricing on those right now. This is the time to check out our GMC Terrains, as we've got all models with a great selection of colors at a discounted price. So please stop in or check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check, 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 check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages. Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions. Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
This message is for Shauna, my mom, who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Welcome in to Tanner's Postgame Show. Live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Set up a screen and a lot of running room for the running back, Ramir Johnson, untouched along the sideline.
Here's Yaz, the former walk-on, makes a move on Bergen. Here comes Yan across midfield. Jumquez Yan inside the 20.
Off the play fakes. The wheel route. Johnson, to whom they faked it. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good evening. Welcome into the Tanner's Postgame Show, number 2 of the day. Huskers 34-3 losers to Michigan tonight. 3-7 now the record on the season for the Huskers, as a bowl game is officially out of the question, not going to happen. Even no matter what, if they beat Iowa or Wisconsin the next 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. No bowl game since 2016 for the Huskers. It will stay that way. Welcome into the Tanner's Postgame Show, brought to you by Tanner's at 30th Yankee Hill, the place to watch all your sporting events. Stop by for great food and beer specials. Eggy Sandwich, the special today. Our sponsor is Bauer Infrastructure, who's paving the way to progress and is hiring heavy equipment, truck mechanics, Class A CDL drivers, carpenters and laborers, equipment operators, and a crew foreman. And they have incredible benefits applied today at BauerInfrastructure.com. Keep me company, 402-464-5685. I believe I am riding solo today. I think Rashawn and Terrell are out today. If they pop in, we will gladly have them here. But again, Tanner's Bar and Grill until about 9 o'clock. 30th and Yankee Hill. Stop by, listen in, tune in. Call and text in 464-5685. I mean, the question is this. Nick and Bach really did a good job covering this in the after party, but there's so many different directions you can go to begin the show and what is wrong with Nebraska football. But where do you start at? I mean, we knew before this game that Casey Thompson was not going to play. Casey Thompson was out with injury. We knew it'd be Chubba Purdy or Logan Smothers. We found out in pregame that it was Purdy warming up with Jarrett Sinek and Matt Masker. No word of Logan Smothers. Eventually, Smothers showed up. But to start off the game, it was Chubba Purdy indeed. And although he had a nice pass down the sideline for a 30-yard gain to, I believe, Marcus Washington, that drive amounted to nothing, and generally the rest of the game amounted to nothing. 3 points for the Huskers, only got close to scoring the one time they did with the field goal, and generally it was a game we were concerned about being out of hand, and it ended up being out of hand. Nebraska did not cover the spread. I mean, it was a 31-point spread. Michigan favored. Huskers pushed it. 31-point loss, 34-3, and now you just have continued questions without answers for this program. Some of the stats you look at this game are just, again, not surprising knowing what the situation was going in. We know Nebraska's offensive line has struggled. They weren't horrible today, honestly. That wasn't the biggest flaw for the Huskers. It was the fact they couldn't get first downs. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't complete passes. You had drops by Trey Palmer. You had drops by other guys. And just, bad throws by Purdy or Smothers, and the game was over before it even started, it felt like. But Huskers on the night, total yards, 146. That's not going to win you many games unless you're Iowa and have a superb defense. By the way, Iowa beats Wisconsin 24-10 and had less than 200 yards of offense today. They had a guy named Cooper DeJean who had a pick six, who had a punt return of 41 yards to put Iowa in touchdown range where they had with a quarterback sync with Spencer Petras, and their defense carried them again to a 14-point victory because Wisconsin's offense is bad. Iowa's offense is also bad, but they make the plays they have to make. And by the way, if they win out and Illinois loses to Michigan, Iowa, with all the crap they've been through this year, will be once again Big Ten West champs. I know that's hard to stomach. That's hard to accept because they have been so anemic offensively, but what do? They have an identity of defense, of toughness, of special teams, and when things get tough, they get tougher. They fight through, and that's what Iowa does. But for Nebraska, again, you want to see a tough team, and there were a few positives tonight. I don't want to be the show that focuses on positives in a 31-point drubbing, but I'd say that Ernest Hausman looked pretty good tonight. He's a guy that's been getting better as the season has gone on. He looked like a bullet, tracking down some players and also making some hits. So that's a positive, but that's really about it. I mean, where do you go from here in terms of positives? I don't even know where you start, but there is a large track of things that just continue to just not add up for the Huskers. And I'll tell you what, your next two games, Wisconsin, you've lost 8 straight games to. Iowa, you've lost 7 straight games to. I said a few weeks ago on this show and also on my show, early break, 6 to 8 a.m. Monday to Friday, that the season was going south, but you could redeem it somehow by ending one of those losing streaks to either Wisconsin or Iowa. They are both beatable. They are. They still are beatable despite playing better football over the last month. But the problem is that you are still playing the game, and you are your own worst enemy in all of this. They're not going to take the game from you because you give it to them. You just give them the game. Now, Nebraska was not turnover prone today, to be fair. This was not an example of a game where they were having dumb fumbles or dumb picks, but they continue to not make stops on third down. And that's the Michigan way. We know Michigan runs the ball very well, and they did again today. Michigan on the ground, 264 yards rushing on 49 attempts, 5.4 yards per carry. 2 of those resulted in touchdowns. Not surprised about that. It's just the fact that Nebraska was inept offensively from start to finish. No one's surprised, but at some point, don't we deserve to be surprised in a positive way? That's where I'm at with this. 464-5685. Call or text as always. Let's see from the text line. Sandman says Nebraska needs to play spoiler for Iowa and beat them end of the season. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. If it's not out the window. I mean, Nebraska should not be scared of Iowa. The last few years they've been in that game. They've played them close. They should have won last year. They were up by 15 points against Iowa, 21-6, and blew it on your home field. Logan Smothers was good in that game, not good enough, but that's what happened with the Huskers in that game. But there's no reason why, even with them playing better football and finding their way defensively still and just doing enough offensively to not lose the game, there's no reason why you should go into that game not expecting to have a chance to win. The problem is this team, I don't know, goes into football games expecting to win. You cannot convince me that Nebraska enters football games believing that they should win the football game, that they are the better team. That's my thoughts on all this. If you think I'm wrong, 464-5685, call or text. Again, you can comment and watch on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter as well. We're live at Tanner's, 30th Yankee Hill for the Husker postgame show. Nebraska, again, 34-3 losers today to Michigan. Not a lot of positives. I saw this. There's a Twitter account that is called Huskers Top Plays, and they usually find something, a couple plays of value. And they tweeted and said, sorry, guys, no plays tonight to put on the top plays. The top play account cannot even put a single play on there. You can't put the field goal. You can't put a 30-yard pass because it was so depressing the whole game, and not surprisingly so. That's where we're at with this, is that we just want to be pleasantly surprised. Now, last week, I guess you kind of were by being up at halftime against Minnesota, but that's not finishing the game. That's one half of good play. They lost that game 20-13. If they won, we could say, hey, that's a pleasant surprise. You were a 16-point dog and you won. That's great. But that's not the case. Nebraska lost by the exact spread that Vegas thought, and that was a butt-kicking. It wasn't your blowout to the past, 70-10 to Texas Tech, or 56-14 by Missouri. I mean, those obviously were painful, and those are drubbings. But this was a team that was just trying to find some sort of passing game. They knew they could get you with the run. They were just trying to be dumb at times and do some passing to see if they can get McCarthy's confidence up, which did not happen. But when they said we can't pass, let's just run the football. They can't stop us. Here comes Blake Corum. First down, touchdown, game over. Let's put him to sleep. Nebraska's not going to push us. And that was the case today in Ann Arbor. From the text line, 464-5685. Texture says, when you're the only Power 5 school that has not made a bowl game since 2016, there needs to be a purge. And as fans, we should want that. What I don't understand is why it feels like that isn't the case with most fans. Well, let's think about this. Scott Frost has been fired. Mickey Joseph was not here in the previous years. This is his first season. Mark Whipple's in his first season here. So if you're talking about other assistants, okay, then we can have that conversation when a new coach is hired. There will be a purge of assistants for sure. But when it comes to players, I don't know what you can do. I mean, the transfer portal exists for these guys to have an option to leave and go other places. As Nick and Bach were saying in the after party, it seems like Nebraska is too often right now just leaning on the portal to be the savior for their entire roster. As Nick was saying, I mean, Samori Toure last year was your best player, and he was not on the team the previous season. He was a one-year addition from Montana, but that was a guy you leaned on. Right now you're leaning on Marcus Washington and Trey Palmer because you're not developing your current players. Anthony Grant was not here last year. He was a transfer. You can't develop your own players. I have preached for year and year and year now on Early Break and on these shows that Nebraska is failing badly in development. And it comes down to a lot of recruiting misses and errors there. But it's mostly there's something wrong in the strength and conditioning program. I think that's very obvious. I don't think I'm breaking news there. There is a problem with Nebraska in their strength and conditioning. It's very obvious with the issues in the trenches on both sides of the ball and overall physicality. That's not breaking news. That's not being overcritical. That's just factual about this program. So you start there, and then you go on from there, and you say, what has gotten better? What has improved? Now, during the season, I would say the defense has improved. That's a big kudos to Bill Bush, who went in and was hired as, was obviously doing special teams previously, but he comes in and Mickey Joseph promotes him to defensive coordinator, and Nebraska's still losing a lot of football games, but they're not getting embarrassed like they were against Georgia Southern and against Northwestern, who has done nothing offensively since week 1 in their win against Nebraska. In fact, they've not won a football game since week 0 in Ireland. But it's something where that's one positive, that the defense, again, has improved. It's still not good, but it's not historically bad like it was the first 3 games of the season. Beyond that, I don't know where you go. Casey Thompson is so important to this team. It's very clear they push the ball downfield with Casey. He can scramble. He's got the ability there. And I thought today that Chubba, when he was healthy before he got hurt, was starting to look more confident at least. That drive that led to the field goal when they're down 14-0. I'm not saying they score the touchdown if he stays in the game. What I am saying is that you saw someone that was getting more comfortable and was looking up to run, and it was not holding the ball too long, was running the ball up the field, getting nice gains, and that counts for something. But he gets hurt, and Logan Smothers comes in, and I know a lot of the fans here, including myself, were probably clamoring for Logan to be the starting quarterback today. That was not the case. But with that being said, I cannot blame this loss and the way it happened on Chubba Purdy. I don't think he was a massive issue today. He was better than he had been in snowy conditions against a really good defense in a tough situation. And I don't think you can just say, unlike last week, that he was a problem. He was fine and getting more confident as the game went on. It's just unfortunate he got injured when he did, the way he did, and we didn't see him the rest of the football game. From the text line, 464-5685. Luffy says, leaning on Trey Palmer is like leaning on a house of cards. I mean, I don't want to be that critical of Trey Palmer. He's not had a great last two games. But again, that's someone that clicked with Casey Thompson. Trey Palmer was having great success with Casey. We all go back to the Purdue game. Deep ball after deep ball after deep ball. Casey was hitting him. He was finding him. And again, defenses have made that not possible the last few weeks, saying you're not going to beat us, Illinois or Minnesota or Michigan. Nebraska, you're not going to beat us with the deep ball. We're just not going to let that happen. And so his game has been changed. And now you've seen some drops. You've seen maybe a little lack of desire or passion. But I would say, I want to give you a comparison. I am a Dolphins fan. We all know that. The Miami Dolphins offense looks a lot different without Tua Tagovailoa. It looks like a lost offense. When Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson are in Miami, it ain't the same. And you can see the players a little bit underwhelmed when they're playing. I'm not trying to make a comparison of Tua and Casey Thompson, but that's your quarterback. That's your guy. It was made very clear throughout the season and the preseason how important Casey Thompson is to this team. And we have seen that since he's been gone, this offense just does not move the football. They don't score. They're ineffective. Besides the great opening drive against Minnesota, it's just been nothing. 3 and outs. And think about this. This team right now, if you get a false start, the drive's over. 2 drives today. I mean, they were moving the football. They get backed up on 1st and 15, and the drive stalls because any type of adversity when you're struggling just is magnified. It grows. It expands. And this team is struggling with that consistently, and it's not going to change this year. I mean, this is going to be something that has to happen in the offseason. But I do want to give people some hope here. To me, I thought this was a little bit depressing, but also a reason for hope at the same time. Remember how we've made fun of UConn for years, Connecticut football, right? All the crap they've gone through with Randy Edsall and the coaches before that, how bad they were. Today, UConn, in the first year of Jim Mora Jr., became bowl eligible. This is a team that I believe won 6 games total in a 3-year span of 2018 to 2020. The joke of college football, an absolute nightmare. We all made, they're in the category of Rutgers and teams like that. Well, guess what? They're 6-5. They beat Liberty today, a team that just beat Arkansas that was 8-1 coming in, upset them, and freaking UConn, is going to a bowl game. We're right now in a season where teams like Kansas, who have been in the depths of hell of football, are going to a bowl game. UConn, deep in the depths of hell of college football, are going to a bowl game. Illinois is going to a bowl game. I mean, it doesn't stop there. There's more teams that have just been bad that are going to bowl games. So that's my point. Says it is depressing to see that when you're out in the cold in this situation. But it shows it's not a 5-year rebuild. It doesn't have to be a 5-year rebuild. If Jim Mora Jr. can get UConn in his first year to a bowl game, who had been absolutely atrocious, I'm here to tell you that Nebraska can make a bowl game next season as long as the coach is hired, the right coach is hired, the assistants are right, and the team buys in right away. I guess Jim Mora got his team to buy in this offseason, which should be easy. He's a longtime NFL head coach. His dad was an NFL head coach. That's easy to get buy-in for Jim Mora Jr., who was not terrible, by the way, at UCLA. Wasn't the best tenure, but it wasn't a terrible tenure. He's got experience here. So this is still going to be a very tough situation for Trev Alberts. It's not going to be easy at all in terms of what he does, and I don't know if he has a guy picked out or what the situation is. I don't think they're going to hire a coach next week, though. I mean, that's just me. I know Nick said that in the previous show. I think you ride this out until Black Friday or the Saturday after Black Friday. I can't imagine them hiring a coach or naming Mickey next week after what happened today, which was a butt kicking with no answers on the offensive side of the ball. Now, listen, I love Mickey Joseph. I love his ability to recruit, and I like his positive mindset and the way he speaks. But this is not a story that's just supposed to be, it's not supposed to be a good, heartwarming story. Nebraska's got to find a way to win and get the right guy ASAP. And it's not a place you just grow on the job at. People say Dabo Swinney grew on the job. Well, they got it right. That could have gone wrong for Clemson. They could have got it wrong. That one worked out right. They're lucky. I mean, they're fortunate that was the right coach. But I'd be surprised if Clemson really thought that Dabo Swinney was going to be the long-term answer there when they hired him as their head coach. It just worked out. They were lucky. He was the right guy for the job. And congrats to Dabo and Clemson on having long-term success. But that doesn't mean Mickey's the guy. And I want Mickey to be part of this program. I really hope that he would be a part of this and in Nebraska's plans for recruiting and as an assistant coach. But I don't know if he's ready to be the full-time head coach. And unfortunately, Mark Whipple and him probably don't really see eye to eye completely. They try to be nice in the media and say there's nothing going on there. But I think you can read between the lines that they don't agree on how to run this offense. And it's unfortunate that you have that. But that's not Mickey's fault. He was not hired to be the head coach here. He was a receivers coach and associate head coach. Got put in to be the head coach after 3 games. Got to kind of do what you have. He fired Shenander, but Shenander came with Frost, so that was understandable. But Whipple was not the case there. That's a different story. From the text line, Sandman once again says, glass half empty, Jake, talking to Husker Nation about hope. I love it. I'm with you, Jake. I mean, you have to have hope. I mean, Detroit Lions fans go to football games every year knowing they're going to suck, but they have hope that this one season can be the one that things go well. Cleveland Browns fans for years have had the hope that, hey, we know we're probably going to suck, but it's a fresh season. Maybe we get it right this year. If you don't have hope, I mean, what's the point even showing up to football games? Nebraska fans still fill up the stadium. There's still quite a few Nebraska fans in Ann Arbor for the road game today, and I give them kudos for traveling up there. It's just not a very fun time right now in Husker Nation, and that's my takeaway. I watch these games. I'm trying to find something to cling to, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it. From the text line, GP in Gretna says, what is the expectation for next year? The coach coming in needs to understand a bowl game is the minimum, right? I mean, yes. Like I said, if UConn can make a bowl game in the first year of Jim Mora Jr., who has been terrible, then yeah, the expectation is to get to 6 wins or more next year. If Kansas in year 2 of Lance Leipold, that went 3-9 last year, can make a bowl game, then yeah, the expectation for this program is to get to a bowl game. It has to be. It should be. 6 wins is not hard. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. From the text line, let's see. Texture says, that's proof that getting the right guy is the biggest piece. Coaching matters. Scott Frost was the worst coach in program history. It's almost impossible to factually argue that. Yeah, I don't. Mike Riley was bad, but Scott Frost, the record was just horrible. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Again, we are live at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. Stop on by. We'll be here till 9 o'clock. Come on by. The Eggy Sandwich is the special of the day. They've got great beer specials. All the games are on. I'm seeing TCU and Texas. I'm seeing Kansas State and Baylor. I see some Horned Frogs fans here. Put up the horn. Yeah, I like that. Kind of a boring game so far. It's a surprise 0-0 score late second quarter TCU in Texas. Kansas State's up 17-0 on Baylor on the road. We got some more games going on here, but come on by. We'll be here till 9 o'clock. Again, Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll have more next top of the hour on 9 through 7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken lips. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
This message is for Karina. Our mom will finish her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Do you remember your favorite teacher? I sure do. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Teachers push students to do their best and help kids when they struggle. They make their classrooms welcoming and safe for all students. They create engaging lessons that help students access complex concepts and make connections. Support our public school teachers and students. Help make this the best school year yet.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check, 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 check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages. Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions. Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
M Suits Clothiers, your Lincoln choice for men's clothing 5 years running. Guys, are you working from home these days and find yourself wearing the same sweatpants you've had since college? Visit M Suits Clothiers and check out our bamboo athletic wear by Task. Task Active Wear is comfortable, moisture-wicking, breathable, 4-way stretch with anti-odor. You'll want to live in it, and it's nice enough that you can wear it outside of the house too. M Suits Clothiers, located at 5525 Red Rock Lane, 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road.
Reward yourself with Kasasa Free Checking. Liberty First Credit Union invites you to open a free Kasasa checking account and earn up to 3% APY for up to $30,000. Get paid for banking. What are you waiting for? Earning a high reward rate is easy, and Kasasa checking is always free. Liberty First Credit Union offers free online banking and bill pay, free e-statements, free mobile banking, and so much more. See libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking Banking with purpose.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to Tanner's postgame show. Brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th Yankee Hill in South Lincoln. Come on by. Lots of games on the TVs. Lots of space for you to watch and eat some good food, drink some good drink. It's a good time out here. Nick Sanders here with me. Chris Raff's in the building. You know what? I talked to, during the break, a TCU fan. We got a TCU couple here watching TCU in Texas. And there's been a name mentioned in this search for the last couple months about Nebraska football that maybe the Huskers should pursue. And that name is Gary Patterson. Gary Patterson is was a longtime TCU head coach, now an advisor at Texas. And the TCU gentleman came up to me and said, Nebraska should consider Gary Patterson. Gary Patterson is 62 years old. I would say that Nebraska fans would have been all in on Gary Patterson back in the 2008 hire when they hired Bo Pelini, or 2015 when Mike Riley was hired. I don't know if right now that's a guy they're in on, especially seeing the first year of Sonny Dykes. They're 9-0. But Patterson's a very respected name. I love Gary Patterson. I just question if he wants to leave Texas and take on what could be a potential rebuild in the Big Ten. So love the idea. I'm not sure it's the right time. I think the right time might have been the last hire or two, but he certainly is a very, very respected coach, no doubt about that. This segment, by the way, brought to you by Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance. Whether you need help with auto, homeowners, or renters insurance, call Vinny Kreekak today at 402-474-1173 to start the pain-free process today. Again, our show sponsored by Bauer Infrastructure here at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill. Texture's not big on Gary Patterson right now. Again, I think 7 years ago, possibly, maybe even 4 years ago, but not sure about right now. From the text line, 402-464-5685. Someone said, a man named Ashley says, if we can find a coach who can develop on a level close to Iowa or Wisconsin, we'll be okay because we can out-recruit those level teams. Again, my question is, what is out-recruited? It's based, we go off the, as Nick was saying in the after party, which I was totally on board with. Rankings are one example of how good a kid can be. It's one evaluator. There's a couple evaluators' thoughts on how that kid can be. It does not always take into effect how that kid fits into a system. Do they fit at Nebraska? They might be a 3-star in a typical, a certain type of offense, but do they fit in the type of offense that's recruiting them and that they commit to? That's not always something that we see. So it's one data point in recruitment. Are you developing these guys? Is your strength and conditioning program up to par? At Nebraska, I'm sorry, it doesn't appear to be. It does not appear to be up to snuff at Nebraska. That's not just me. I believe most people believe that there's something wrong consistently over time with Nebraska's strength and conditioning. That's just a fact. From the video stream, again, you can watch and comment Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. Eric says, imagine how packed Tanner's would be if Nebraska actually had won, or they didn't win. Yeah, I know. That'd be great if we could have a winning. If Nebraska beat Michigan, this place would be buzzing. I'd be buzzing. We'd have a great time. I'd be buying shots for people if that was the case. But I'm not, because they didn't win. So don't take that. I'm not doing that. I'm not buying you free shots. They have to win for that to happen. From the video stream, regarding Mickey Joseph, in terms of being, is he still a plausible candidate to be the head coach full time? That's up to Trev. I don't know. I don't make these decisions. It's all hypothetical. What does Jake say? What does Nick say? What does Chris Raff say? What does anybody say? We don't know. But I can tell you this game did not help Mickey Joseph's cause at all being the head coach. We wanted to be surprised. We wanted to be a competitive football team. And for the first quarter, they were. And at halftime, you could accept 17-3. That's not terrible. And it wasn't again, a horrendous blowout where you gave up 65 points. It was 34 points. Your offense just did nothing. And you're without your starting quarterback, and your number 2 quarterback got hurt, and you're at a very raucous place on a crap weather day against a team that's fighting for the playoff. It's a bad mixture to have success, and that was certainly a buzzsaw Nebraska ran into. But I didn't think overall that Nebraska looked like a team that was horrible today. Defense was okay enough. Michigan had on the ground on the day they had 412 yards. That's not going to kill you. I mean, I saw Tennessee had like 760 yards of offense today. Tennessee beat Missouri 66-24. They had like 760 yards of offense. Now that is something that you say, fire the staff defensively if you're Eli Drinkwitz. But today, you're not shaking your head and saying, woe is me about the defense after giving up 34 points and 412 yards of offense. That's just, that's acceptable. And I know that sounds like a moral victory, and we hate moral victories, but I don't know what to tell you at this point. I don't know what to tell you in terms of what Nebraska should be trying to achieve, what they can achieve. All I know is I would be pleasantly, and I'd hope to be surprised if they beat Wisconsin or Iowa the next 2 games. Why can't we have that? Don't we deserve some happiness in the state? Something to go right? Texture says, can we just make a deal with the devil and hire Urban Meyer? Seriously, I'm 32 years old. I can't remember the last time I had fun watching Nebraska play. I don't care about morals or baggage. I just want to win and be able to talk crap to other fan bases. I've been all in on Urban Meyer for months. I don't know if it's realistic or possible, though. I don't know the conversations when they were in town for the Oklahoma game. If Trev talked about that at all, I have no idea. I assume it's probably not going to be a thing. But until it's not, you can have that dream. Until it's officially a no-go, you're allowed to dream about Urban Meyer at Nebraska. I just choose to believe, although I love that, that's not going to happen. But again, every week it feels like this coaching search, the names change. Think about today, for example. Think about the names that were mentioned over the last 2 months in the search. Dave Doran at NC State got upset by Boston College today. Do we take him off the list? Dave Aranda's getting his butt kicked by Kansas State, 17-3. Do you take him off the list? Is he even an option? We don't know. People are going crazy in the state every single week because we're trying to figure out names that fit. I mean, Lance Leipold was the hot name. Then he lost 3 in a row. He was off the list. Then he beats Oklahoma State. It was back up on the board. We have no idea what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. Some people believe there's going to be a coach hired next week. I don't believe that. I think it's going to be after Black Friday. And I just don't think if you're going to name Mickey Joseph the head coach, you can do it right now next week with how this game went today in Ann Arbor. I just don't see how you can do that. From the video stream, let's see here. Eric says, I agree on Patterson. The best chance to get him was after Callahan. It's too late to get him now. I mean, you're talking when Bo was hired is probably the best time to hire Patterson, if not 2015. Right now, you can't convince me he's got the gas it takes to rebuild this program at 62 years old and not being a head coach now and being in an advisor role. Maybe this is his time. He just had to kind of start over and get himself some more energy. But I don't know. I don't know if Gary Patterson wants to be a head coach again. But it's a name that is certainly respected. Dion says in the video stream, I don't think that was the number 3 team in the nation we played today. They have issues in the passing game. They do. I mean, Michigan's pass game has some problems. J.J. McCarthy, you still can't convince me, by the way, he's better than Cade McNamara. I don't know if you can say that to me. Last year, McNamara was the quarterback. We saw McCarthy a little bit in Lincoln when Michigan came to town, and they both had their chance to win the job early on, and they've rolled with McCarthy. That guy does not impress me. Let me be very clear. J.J. McCarthy does not impress me as a world-beater quarterback. His stats today for Michigan, 8 of 17, 129, 2 touchdowns, no pick, sacked twice. He ran the ball. He had a couple sacks in there, but overall 3 carries for 3 yards when he ran it, -8 net for him. I don't see it. I don't see that guy being the guy that takes him over the hump in the playoff. You know, if they thought he was the answer instead of McNamara to get Michigan a chance to win a playoff game, I don't see that. Their receiving core did not impress me. I know it was crap weather. It's hard to always put that on the quarterback or the receivers when the ball is slick and it's windy out there and snowing. But I didn't think that he was overly impressive. What is impressive is their run game. Blake Corum, 28 carries, 162, a touchdown, an average of 5.8. I mean, they average on the day on 49 carries, 5.4 yards per carry compared to Nebraska, 29 carries for 75 yards, an average of 2.6. Still didn't really commit to running the football. Anthony Grant, 11 carries, 22 yards. It's just not going to do anything for you. Your best ball carrier was your quarterback, Chuba Purdy, 5 carries for 39 yards, an average of 7.8. The deal is this: there's a lot of things we don't know about the program, where it's going, but it certainly has a long ways to go in any capacity. From the text line, someone says, why are people okay with Trev keeping Frost for another year to save money and then firing him anyway? That should be one check against Trev at this point. You haven't heard that conversation for a while. I mean, let's go back to the end of last year. Nebraska goes 3-9. Competitive in every game, lost every game by 9 points or less. We all know that they were close, but still went 3-9. Trev Alberts chooses to keep Scott Frost, lower the salary and the buyout, and then fires him 3 games into the season before the buyout would even go less on October 1st. It's a fair point. If you want to criticize Trev Alberts and where this is going, you can say that. I can't push back on you. And again, I don't know how much influence Trev Alberts had on hiring Mark Whipple and hiring Mickey Joseph. I have to assume he had big influence on hiring Mickey Joseph. I don't know about Mark Whipple, though. I don't know. We don't know how the hot dog's made in the hiring of these different assistants and coaches in general. But after the fact, yeah, you are allowed to be critical of Trev Alberts for how he handled Scott Frost and allowed him to come back and lowering the salary and the buyout. But that's what sucks, is that this year is another lost year. It's another year of just down the toilet. You forget about it, you flush it out, and we start over again next year. And how long can you do that before the fans just check out? I mean, they are checked out to a certain extent. Today, I thought you saw a lot less people ticked on Twitter with the loss. I mean, people just kind of gave in and saying, yeah, that's where we're at. We just suck. We'll see where they hire. And that's dangerous. If they have another year that's like this and they go 4-8 or 3-9 or 5-7, you are really, really leaning on the fan base to continue to be supportive of a product that has not been backing up or that has not been deserving of that kind of support. And that's just the way it is. Merrill on the YouTube stream says, you need players. Mickey has said it more than once. Yes, yeah. But the question is this, has Mickey deserved the chance to be the head coach to get those players? There's no doubt he deserves to be on the staff, and it's going to be on the next coach, if it's him or not, to keep him around or allow him to stay. But it's fair to ask, if you are a fan, if Mickey Joseph is deserving of being the guy to take the keys of the operation. And I don't know what to say about that. But it's a tough place to be right now. We all know it's a tough place to be. Jim says on the YouTube stream, if you hire someone new, that's the way it will be next year too. I'm choosing to be positive and optimistic about what's happened at Kansas and UConn and Illinois, of quick turnarounds of programs that were in complete disarray. And I think that although we have made the point that Nebraska's recruiting has had big problems, and so has their strength and development, and the way that they run their system has been a problem. If you get someone that knows what they want to do, they come in here saying, here's the deal. This is what we're going to run. If that happens and you get a coach saying, I don't care what happened here in the past, I don't care what this team set up to be. This is what's going to happen. You need someone that has a freaking plan. Okay? Lance Leipold had a plan at Kansas. He didn't go in there saying, woe is me, I'm going to get a big paycheck and get fired because this job's impossible. No. Turner Gill failed there. Charlie Weiss failed there. David Betty failed there. Lance Leipold is doing the opposite of failing. He is the best coach of Kansas since Mark Mangino. And he went in there not sulking, not thinking this is impossible, not saying, I don't know what we have. He went in with a plan, and by year 2, they're in a bowl game. They're beating Oklahoma State. They're beating good teams. They're competing against TCU and lost a close game there with a backup quarterback. There's a plan. There's belief. There's buy-in. And I just don't think you can convince me that Scott Frost ever had a plan. I don't know if this current staff has a plan. A plan goes a long way in getting your players to buy in and your team over the hump. And think about Scott Frost. Let's think about his tenure. Scott Frost comes in from UCF. We're going to run the duck guard. We're going to get a duck guard back. We're going to get Miles Jones here. We're going to get a couple guys like that. You never saw the duck guard ever take off. It never existed here. It never happened. The duck guard worked at Oregon. It worked at UCF. The duck guard was never even a thought here. They thought they were going to do it, and it never turned out to be anything at all because the plan got changed from the get-go, and they never got a new plan. They just kept trying to throw stuff at the wall and seeing what hit, and nothing stuck on the wall. I'm convinced that let's say Urban Meyer were to accept the job. You think he's going to come in here and say, oh, woe is me, I'm going to take a big check and just get out of here? No. Urban Meyer wins. He's got a plan. He hires assistants that can win. He recruits well. He has a plan he sells to his assistants and to his team. And that's why he wins big and wins right away. Do you remember Urban Meyer's first year at Ohio State? They had just gone 6-7 the previous year when Luke Fickell was the interim coach for Jim Tressel. And Urban Meyer went in there with sanctions. They couldn't even go to a bowl game his first year, and they went undefeated. I know Ohio State's never going to be a tough place to recruit to. I'm not saying that that's anywhere comparable to the situation here. But he went in with the plan. He got his assistants to buy in. The players bought in, and they won. And after that, everything was easy. Like, this is not a fluke for Kansas. If Leipold stays there, they're going to win. They're going to be I'm not saying they win the Big 12, but they're going to be a good football program because he has got the buy-in from the team and his assistants and his fans, and they now are going to expect to be a bowl team year in, year out as long as he's there because he did it early. They built the program properly. They didn't try to do a quick, cheat our way to success and let's just do the portal and go that way. They had a program. And they keep building it, and I love to see it. And I kill to see someone that comes into Nebraska in their opening press conference and says, this is what we're going to be. Not something like Scott Frost said that they're going to have to adapt to the Big Ten. I hope we never hear that ever again, that the teams will have to adapt to what Nebraska's doing. That backfired. But I do want to have a coach that has a plan of strength and development, of being good in the trenches, of running the football, and laying out reasons why that can happen or a plan of attack there. If Iowa and Wisconsin can consistently have good trenches and run the football, there is no reason why Nebraska can as well. Again, we're live at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill, South Lincoln. Come on by. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Stop on by for great food, great drink. We're watching some ball games. TCU and Texas still on. TCU, I think, is up 3-0. I think it's halftime. K-State's up 17-3 on Baylor. Georgia on top of Mississippi State, 31-12. Those games will be going on for quite some time here. So stop on by. Again, 30th and Yankee Hill. Tanner's. We'll take a quick timeout. Be back more with next here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
It's a career, and right now they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check, 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 check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages. Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions. Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
This is Todd Riley with American Senior Benefits. Tune into our show, the American Senior Benefits Family Hour, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. We'll share our stories from the world of insurance and talk about the advantages of a career with us. We'll see you this Sunday morning at 7.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping, thrift camping. It's saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at NebraskaAutoDetail.com.
Hey, who caught that ball? That field goal was good, right? Is the scoreboard fuzzy to anyone else?
Dude, you have got to get your eyes checked, man.
If you're noticing that the game is getting a little tougher to follow, it might be time for a checkup at Premier Vision. They have state-of-the-art equipment, a variety of frames, and great lens options. Visit Premier Vision today, just south of Van Dorn at 84th and Firethorn.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Now back to Tanner's Postgame Show. Brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just over a half hour to go here at Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill in South Lincoln. This segment sponsored to you by American Senior Benefits. Today's Husker Player of the Game was decided earlier in the show on the after party. Hope you tuned in for that and made your pick. I don't know who won that, by the way. Who won that in a game that was 34-3? But
man,
we appreciate them and Bauer Infrastructure and Vinny Creekhack for sponsoring our show. I'm Jake Sorensen, and I've got some company. Chris Raff in the house from The Drive with Raff and AD, 8 to 10 a.m. every Monday to Friday. Raff, I know you were heated today about this game. 34-3 Huskers fall. Competitive, I guess, at halftime. Didn't show up in the second half, as most teams don't show up in the second half. Michigan still in the season has allowed 3 points in the second half total. They have outscored opponents, if I do a quick math, 117-3 in the second half of football games this season.
I'm just glad we scored. I know that they were putting up this
small victories.
The statistic that the last time Nebraska had been shut out was the 96 season against Arizona State. We kicked a field goal, so that streak will continue. I guess, so what do we got now? The no shutout streak and the sellout streak. And that's about it of all those great streaks that we once had. It just upsets me that with the game today is we talk about identity, and that's great and stuff like that. But if you're going to commit to run the ball, you've got to be a little bit more creative when you run the ball. And I'm not talking about reverses. I'm not talking about crazy creativity like that. I'm talking about you've got to design stuff. Like you look at Grant's carries today. He's 11 carries for 22 yards. I would go out on a limb and say that probably 6 or 7 of them were on read options. Well, right now, we do not have a quarterback. Yeah, Smothers is a decent runner. Chubb is a decent runner. But you are not going to threaten the defense with your quarterback running. So if you run that play over and over, if I'm the defense coordinator, I'm going to shut down Grant. I'm going to take my chances if one of those quarterbacks gets to the corner that we're going to be able to shut that down at most, maybe an 8-yard run at most with those quarterbacks. So you got to get crafty. I posted on my Twitter about we joke a lot in Nebraska about bringing back the fullback.
Yep.
Well, if you want to run the ball, go back. Watch Michigan today. Watch where they have like either a fullback or they call it an H-back. They have somebody leading through the hole. That assists your running back, and not only assists your running back, it assists your offensive line. If somebody does happen to get through the defensive line, you've got a fullback coming through there to seal down, to give that running back a chance. I feel like we're not giving Anthony Grant no chance to run because we're not being creative with the running game.
No, you're right, Raph. I mean, I totally agree. And I think back to, I know that Bo's offense could move the football, Tim back, and they were, they had to have that multiple basketball and grass, but they still at times would incorporate a fullback. I mean, they had Tyler Legate out there throwing out some blocks for guys, and it helped open up some holes. It wasn't all the time, but it was an option to have, like you said, to kind of mix up the running game, and they just don't even try.
And you've got, like, one of the things that I know this is going to sound crazy, but I would like to see a toss sweep. You put Chancellor Brewington in motion, have him kick out the end, and just run a toss sweep. I feel like sometimes Nebraska's outthinking themselves. Like they'd spoke at the press conference this week that we're going to gain 4 yards, 3 yards, and 3 yards, and that's first down. And the first possession today, first carry of the game, 4-yard carry. My mind, I'm saying to myself, are they going to live up to what they said, or are they going to throw? And when they throw a bubble screen out to the outside, I think it was 0-yard gain, I think. So we're sitting at 3rd and 6 right off the bat.
Yep.
So you're playing from behind. You're always playing from behind the chains. It frustrates me. And I know, like, I'm a big Lance Leipold fan. I think everyone,
and I love Lance.
Everyone that knows that, watch a Lance offense run. It's based off the run. But
there's a plan, though. I was saying last segment, there's a plan. Lance has a plan, and he incorporates it.
He has a play. I feel like sometimes the Nebraska offense is just throwing stuff off the wall. Like, all right, maybe it'll stick. We'll run this play. Maybe it might work. Maybe it won't. And it just frustrates me. And it also frustrates me too that we had, without a doubt, probably one of the greatest offensive coordinators in the history of college football. And he's been around for 25 years. If I'm a coach, if I'm coaching the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I am going over to Tom Osborne's house every single night, and I'm sitting with him, and I want to listen to what his thoughts on the run game are, what he was thinking, play calls, setting things up. Back in the day, you'd look back, and he'd run the fullback, and people would get so mad. Well, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Maybe he was sacrificing that play for like a 1 or 2 yard gain because he was setting something up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like we set nothing up on offense. And it's just like, well, we'll call this. Maybe this might work. We might call this. And it's so predictable.
There's no plan.
It's
Ralph.
so
There's
predictable.
just no plan.
And
It's just,
you get, and then we have a false start. And it's sad that you see 1st and 15, and you're like, well, we're going to be punting.
Right.
Or it's going to be a
you
turnover.
get behind it. Like you said, you get off schedule, the drive's over. And that's just the way it is.
And it's so frustrating. And I just want whoever be the next coach, like you said, come in and what are you going to do? You got to realize you're in the Big Ten. So the run and shoot, crazy, 5 wide and stuff like that, it's probably not going to work in the Big Ten. We saw.
2 straight coaches tried to do that, Raph. It didn't work.
And it does not work. I think Jay Foreman posted on his Twitter tonight. He's like, you saw the blueprint with Michigan today, how you went in the Big Ten. So we need to go out. We talk about being physical all the time, but there's a lot more to just being physical. You have got to get conditioned. We might have maybe the strongest offensive line in the Big Ten when it comes to lifting, bench pressing weight and stuff like that.
Not game strong.
But that means nothing when you get into the game. We weren't coming off our defensive line today. The first thing I see is you see Corum getting tackled maybe a yard or 2 downfield, and all of a sudden you see a surge and he goes forward for another 4 yards. The first thing I'm saying to myself is our defensive line isn't getting low. So they're getting blown out, and then they're gaining an extra 6 yards. So then you got 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3. You're never going to win that way. And it's too bad because a lot of people, I know everybody gets mad back to the 90s, but you can learn a lot from your history. But you've got to be willing to go after it, and you've got to work when it comes to conditioning.
Yep.
Yeah, you can go in and bench press 50, 225, 48 times. But if you're not doing football strength, it means nothing.
Right. And again, my point to all that is that doesn't have to take 4 years to develop. If you can see Lance Leipold take over a pathetic Kansas program that was terrible, and Nick was pointing out rankings earlier. I mean, they were terrible. They still aren't good in recruiting rankings, but he made those guys, and they've added some pieces, not all portal guys, some pieces, but he made guys that were perceived as not very good into a team that's right now going to maybe have 8 wins this season. Jim Moore is going to have 7 or 8 wins at UConn.
You've got
with terrible recruiting classes because he had a plan. He developed the guys he had. And they didn't make excuses. They can go and say, "Oh, you just can't win here." No, they don't. That's why they didn't do that. That's why they're achieving success. We don't need any more excuses here.
And I will say another thing too. I understand you. I believe after the game, Mickey said something about recruiting is what's going to bring you closer to Michigan. I understand that, but I also know that developing is key too. Because if you take Nebraska's offensive line right now and look where they were recruited at, and you compare that to Kansas' offensive line, I guarantee you there'll be more stars for Nebraska than there are at Kansas. But Lance and his offensive line coach, Scott Fuchs, they know how to develop offensive linemen. And I hope whatever happens with the next coach at Nebraska, that they or whoever it will be. I mean, maybe Mickey. You know, I know for a fact. I really believe that Mickey does have a plan at Nebraska, but he's not able to institute it because, face it,
handcuffed right now a little bit.
Mark Whipple was a Scott Frost hire. Would Mark Whipple have been Mickey Joseph's choice to be offense coordinator? I would say
no.
I'd say
hell
no.
I'd say hell no.
So that is a thing that Trev Alberts has to look at what Mickey's plan is. What is his vision? And I know a lot of people are down right now, Mickey, but I think he still has a plan, and I hope that Mickey looks at that plan as he is. Like I've said from the get-go, I pushed all my chips in with Trev. I believe in the way he runs his program. I believe that the passion he has for the program, he wants to win just as much as anybody, if not more. And so I know what he's doing will be right for the program. I just hope and pray that who he does hire comes in with a plan, and it's not one of those on the fly things. Well, this ain't going to work. Well, let's switch to something else. It doesn't work.
Yeah, you got to commit to it. Yeah.
Right now, Nebraska is really running a glorified high school offense. There is not much to it right now. You got read option on the run, and then you've got layered passes. You know, you got to roll out layered pass, and it's pretty basic. So I pray that Nebraska just finds just some authenticity, you know.
I'm looking at a game right now with a team that has a plan and a purpose. Kansas State takes a 31-3 lead over Baylor early fourth quarter. I mean, Chris Kleiman is someone that came in there for North Dakota State, Raf, and I think we said that's a perfect fit at K-State because he is, he's a physical brand of football. And I know that we don't view the Big 12 as physical, but K-State's won in the Big 12. They've done it their way. Now, they're not winning the conference, but they're still a ranked football team that's pretty dang good. Good defense, good offense. They've had some injury problems that have hurt them the last couple of years, but they run a good program because he commits to it. He built it. He said, I don't care what you've done before. We're running this.
He's set in his ways. I'll go back to Lance again at Buffalo because that's where I'm familiar with. Lance, I remember his first year at Buffalo. He did all right, made some changes. Second year, it was completely like, I'm talking Buffalo struggled. I think they went 2-9 his second year. But Lance did not deviate from what his plan was. He knew what he was doing and what he was setting up. Then you look at year 3. I think they were bowl eligible. And then year 4, everything, they ended up going like 10-2, something crazy like that. But he never strayed from his plan. I remember the second year at Buffalo. I still remember some of his players' parents coming up to me at Buffalo going, well, this might be Lance's last year here. Things just aren't working out. And I'm like, well, let's give it a chance. Let's see how this plays out. And then I remember his final year at Buffalo, the same parents are coming up to me like, do you think Lance is going to leave? so
changes fast, doesn't it? It changed fast.
But he stayed to what he knew. He knew a lot of people are like, well, he's coming from Division III. This isn't going to work. But Lance knows it's football. At the end of the day, it's football. Jay will tell you the same thing. It's 11 on 11. And if you find your plan and you develop it, away you go. And I totally understand it. I saw there about the players. Yes, you've got to get talented players to your system. But if you do not develop those players, it doesn't make a difference. Like, look at Nebraska's offensive line right now. Three of them were probably four-star.
Well, Ben Hart was a 4-star.
4-star.
Corcoran was a 4-star.
4-star.
Piper's a 3-star. I'm trying to think who else would be in that 4. There's probably some though. You're right.
Yeah, but it was.
Prohaska's a 4-star. He's hurt though.
But it wasn't developed properly, and it's sad because you look down there. You go back to Kansas. I know Mike Nowitzki, for instance, center for Kansas right now. He's a Dave Remington Award watch. He's on the Remington Award list. I would say maybe a 2-star, maybe. And now he's, one of the top centers in the Big 12.
Yep.
But he developed. And that's it. it frustrates me.
But again, Raph, I mean,
and we got stuck, and we really got stuck on numbers for a while. Like if this guy does not fit if he's not so and so height or so and so weight, well then he can't play at Nebraska. Well, you got to look back at past some of the great offensive linemen in Nebraska history. They might not have fit the profile to be a great offensive lineman, but they came in with an attitude. They came in and they wanted to get better. And that's huge.
Think about that in instance, like for look at Michigan. I mean, Blake Corum's 5'8", right?
Yeah, 5'8".
Oh, someone would say you're not big enough. You can't play. He's one of the best running backs in the country.
Yeah.
Or back in the day, Kansas State, Darren Sproles at 5'6". He's one of the best running backs in the country, but he wasn't good enough for most teams because he's too small. Right?
Too small.
It's not a thing. If a
and
guy
and Nebraska's, in the past, it's like, oh well, Nebraska was perfect in the past. No, they weren't, because there was a running back named Marshall Falk, and Nebraska told him, well, you can come here, but you got to play defensive back. There's errors that are made.
Well, that was a big error.
But you've got to hit. You've got to hit you've got to hit more than you miss.
Yep.
And
right now they're
now
way more than they're hitting.
It feels like there's a lot of missing going on.
Too much missing. We'll take one more time out again. We're live at Tanner's 30th and Yankee Hill for the post-game show. Chris Raff with me, Jake Sorensen. We'll have one more segment next on 937 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping. Thrift camping. It's saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement. Hey, who caught that ball? That field goal was good, right? Is the scoreboard fuzzy to anyone else?
Dude, you have got to get your eyes checked, man.
If you're noticing that the game is getting a little tougher to follow, it might be time for a checkup at Premier Vision. They have state-of-the-art equipment, a variety of frames, and great lens options. Visit Premier Vision today, just south of Van Dorn at 84th and Firethorn.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at freedmanlaw.com today.
This is Todd Riley with American Senior Benefits. Tune into our show, the American Senior Benefits Family Hour, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. We'll share our stories from the world of insurance and talk about the advantages of a career with us. We'll see you this Sunday morning at 7.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check, 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 check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages. Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions. Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Now back to Tanner's Postgame Show. Brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Final segment of the Tanner's Postgame Show, 30th and Yankee Hill. Chris Raff with me, Jake Sorensen. It's been a fun show so far. Thanks for all the texts at 402-464-5685 and for watching and commenting on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. Nebraska again falls to Michigan 34-3. Huskers no points in the second half. Michigan, though, don't feel too bad because Michigan's allowed 3 points the entire year.
Yeah.
In the second half. You're in good company, Nebraska.
Yeah, well done.
It's just
well
too
done.
bad it was 17-3 at halftime. And
Yeah.
Andy allowed 17 points in the second half also.
I felt, going into the second half, I really thought if we could have caused a turnover or a big play, just something unexpected, the whole optics of that game changes. I texted Foreman at halftime. I'm like, I think if we just get one play, just something, just to give Michigan something to think about, but we were never able to do that. And with that, Michigan, they stuck to their guns and they just kept on running the ball. And at the end of the day, we had nothing left. Because I'm not really that upset with the Nebraska defense today.
I wasn't either. The last 3 weeks I haven't been. I mean, against Illinois, Minnesota, and Michigan,
I thought
they're not why you lost.
I mean, we gave up yards rushing the ball, which we kind of knew that was going to happen, but they never got gashed for any like gigantic plays.
No huge plays.
And they got some 3 and outs. But one of the things that Nebraska fans need to really be happy about is I think Ernest Hausman's going to be something special.
Played well today.
He
played really well.
That play that he had where he went out.
He led the team in tackles. 10 tackles today for Ernest Hausman. Had a sack, tackle for loss. I mean, he was a bullet today.
Oh,
bullet.
That sack was something special. People saw something there.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped into coverage. Quarterback comes out on the edge, and he comes out and tackles the quarterback. There's not many players in college football that make that play.
Here's the problem, though, Raph. Ernest Hausman's development this year is the outlier. It's not the exception to the rule. Like it's how many guys have developed like Ernest Hausman? He is one example of someone that you could tell from the first few weeks he got pulled, went back in. Now he played well today.
Yeah.
You see the growth, but that can't be the one guy.
Well, two. Hartzog, I think, is going to be.
Hartzog, sure.
Hartzog.
Yeah, Hartzog's been good.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. Like, that's why you're 3-7. There's not enough stories like that.
But when you're 3-7, you're trying to hold on to anything right now, and that's a couple where you try to find the positives. It's horrible when the play of the game and sorry, we have nothing. We'll come back next. Hopefully, we'll have something next week. And then when you have a player of the game, and you're like, well, holy cow, who
do we choose?
Who's a player of the game? I mean, probably Houseman would be my player of the game, I would say. But that would not, usually when you think players of the game, you're thinking offense. And there's really no one on offense that stuck out to me at all.
No, not at all. I mean, you had the one play. I mean, here, you want some good news, Raf? I mean, Nebraska had the longest play this game. If you want one positive thing. Nebraska,
30 yards.
Nebraska, Chuba's pass to Marcus Washington for 30 yards was the longest play of the game. Otherwise, there was a pass for 29 yards for Michigan and 28 yards. And then their longest run was 17 yards. I mean, you're right. They didn't have that big breakaway play. That was a busted coverage, and that's a positive. It's just that they couldn't stop the run on third down.
Nebraska defense just wore down. At the end, you really saw it. They had worn down. But I love the fight that they had, that they could have gave at the end of the game there when they were running the ball. And I think it was their second string back. He popped out of there a couple times. And I think in prior years, he probably takes it to the house and is hitting his head on the goalpost. And they were still chasing the ball down and, making tackles, even though they were, 17 yards downfield. But they did not give up. And that is one of the things that's so commendable about Nebraska right now, is going through the tough times that they went through over the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, is I've not seen this team give up. And I want to believe that they can find some sort of, I never wish.
Scary deal.
I know. Just take the rest of the season off, get well. Maybe we'll relieve you of your duties, and we'll take it from here. And maybe that is a transition that is needed. Because I just, going back and just looking at things, I really thought in my mind that with the performance last week that Logan deserved to start this week. And I felt like they left Chuba in at maybe a couple extra possessions than what they should have today. That maybe they should have made that switch over to Logan a little bit sooner. Not that any of them, lit the house on fire or anything like that. But I just felt like Logan deserved more than what he got. So it's frustrating, and it's sad to think that we're going on year. I'm probably not since. Well, I guess Riley went 8-0 to start the year that one year. I saw a stat that Nebraska has not been in the top 25 since 2019. I think was the last time we were in the top 25. I mean, it's
been too long.
It's crazy to think to where we have fell. If you look at it right now, Nebraska, Power 5, bottom third team in the country, maybe?
Yeah, worse than that. Raph, it's been fun. We are live at Tanner's. It's been a fun show. I mean, 34-3, Nebraska loses. We'll see what we can do again next week. For Chris Raph, I am Jake Swartz, and we will talk to you on Monday. Good night.